Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning. Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Marlene Cuellar.
And I'm Gavin Courtney.
And thank you for joining us this morning.
With that pause, I almost said I'm Marlene Cuellar.
Well, that would have been a fun start to the day, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, of course, we're going to start off this morning with our weather update, as we always do.
Yep, and we have Ronald Gordon on the line to give us this update. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
All right, let's get into our weather forecast. Can you tell us about our general situation this morning?
Yes, we are having a relatively moist northeastern airflow that is setting in over the area this morning.
Okay, and so for our 24-hour forecast?
Yeah, that will support an increase in showers. We are going to see cloudy skies at times today with a few showers, periods of rain, and isolated thunderstorms. We shall affect mostly the coast and the south this morning and spread inland this afternoon. And once again tonight, be confined mostly to the south and coast.
Okay, so a little bit of showers. And what about our winds?
Winds are out of the northeast at 5 to 15 knots. Sea conditions light with waves of 1 to 3 feet.
Okay, let's talk about our temperatures. What are the highs looking like for today?
It will continue relatively cool. Today we're expecting only about 82 Fahrenheit along the coast, inland about 86, and up in the hills, 75. Lows for tonight, 75 along the coast, 70 inland, and 65 up in the mountains.
All right, that sounds pretty good. And what about our outlook as we head into the weekend?
Yes, it's going to be relatively moist, continuing through the weekend. A few showers will continue tomorrow, Friday, and increase even further on Friday night. And we expect the same thing on Saturday with a few showers in the morning, decreasing a bit in the afternoon.
And would that be like countrywide?
Generally, yes, but the majority of it will be along the coast and south.
All right. Well, Ronald, thank you so much for giving us that update.
You're welcome.
All right, and we hope you have a great day.
Same to you.
Okay. There you have it.
Yep, a couple showers, but
It's such an enthusiasm.
well, you know how I feel about the rain at this point. I think on Tuesday when we were talking to Francisca, I was quite disappointed to hear about more.
Yeah, well, you know, we've seen very heavy downpours that I'm sure what's coming won't feel so bad, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's lift things up a bit with some motivation for this morning, which means it's time for our Eye Opener. Our Eye Opener is taken from dailyom.com, and today's message goes like this. Reflecting back on diary entries, you may find you are just the help you need in your own life. A diary can play many roles. It can be a confidant, a vehicle of self-expression, a tool that facilitates clarity of thought, or a repository of dreams. A diary can also be a powerful source of comfort during challenging or traumatic periods. When you record those insights and incidents that clearly demonstrate you are on the right track, you can return to your words days, weeks, or months later and find it uniquely soothing reassurance. A diary with a specific purpose can be a good tool for keeping track of experiences before the passage of time can skew your perception of events. Regardless of the type of focused diary you choose to keep, your recollections will create a positive feedback loop that helps you cope with doubt in a constructive way. Reading through your diary when life seems uncertain can show you that your misgivings are unfounded. As you draw consolation from your uplifting words, you will know without a doubt that you are indeed living your purpose and following the path that you committed to before birth.
That's a pretty interesting eye-opener. And it actually reminded me, I don't anymore, but I actually did used to keep a diary or a journal when I was much, much younger, probably from ages like 8 to maybe 10 to 12. I actually found my old journal a couple of years ago, and some of the entries were really, really funny. Just looking back on
the
those
dramas you have at that age,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I mean, but it wasn't even drama. I was writing about things like, oh, I'm not supposed to watch this TV program, but I watched it anyway, stuff like that. Yeah, it was a little rebellious me.
Okay.
But
we won't ask what program. Sorry, no. Go ahead.
even at that, but just looking back at that, you know, one thing is that it provides a record and it shows you about, you know, your progress in life. And I think that one of the things that the eye opener was talking about is that when you are having worries or when you're going through something, you can look back to this and show that your worries are unfounded. And I think that it's similar to one of the things that I like to live by when I'm very stressed out or if I'm upset about a particular situation. I always think about that saying that says, well, think about the things that were bothering you 1 year ago on the same day or whatever. Yeah. And you realize that, you know, you were going through something then, you were, you know, you were feeling stressed out, you were feeling everything, but then you got through it. So if you have a record or an objective thing so that you could go back, you know, like a diary and say that, well, you know, in December last year, this is what I was going through. I know, like, for example, Christmas is probably, it's a happy time, but it's also a stressful time for a lot of different reasons and for a lot of different families. And I think that right now, especially what we're all going through the pandemic, it can definitely feel like there's even more added on to the stress that can come with this season. But at the same time, it's because we're living it now. So if you did go back and look and you said, oh, well, you know, I was thinking, oh, well, I didn't have gifts for this one, or I didn't know how I was going to buy this, or X, Y, and Z. And you figure out that you get through it, or even however you handle the situation. Once you get past it, you know that, you know, time heals, you progress, you learn from the situation. So keeping a diary or keeping a record of that can definitely be helpful in the ways that the eye opener suggests.
Yeah, I think just the word diary kind of turns you off, and you think, okay, well, you know, like a young schoolgirl keeping a daily progress report of what's happening in life. But the idea of journaling is actually one that is very much recommended to kind of help with your mental health.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what you write, it doesn't matter what you focus on. It is something that helps you to kind of get those thoughts out in one way, and that can be on paper. Now, I love what you said. I think for me, especially what stood out was talking about how time skews our perception of things.
Yeah.
And how we sometimes have clarity later on. Sometimes we have a level of acceptance that may come with challenging times. And it also, I think, can help you when you look back to understand the resilience that you've built over time. Because what is usually very challenging or traumatic in a moment, later on, just doesn't seem so tough. Or you realize how much you've grown from that experience. So I can definitely see the merits of it. I think it takes dedication to be able to do so. And I know people who are very dedicated to it, but it is just, it gives you such great perspective. And so you can do it maybe reflecting, but we really forget things so easily. And so at least you have that to know your thought processes and know just what it was at that time.
Yeah. And I think that one of the other things that's interesting about it is, as the eye opener suggests, it can be also a record to keep you on a path. Especially if you start out on a journey, whether it's a new job or whether it's any sort of a new initiative or something that you want to work towards. If you write that down and you go back to look at that record, it's definitely going to keep you focused. Or if you look through as you go along and you progress, you can chart your progress, you can see how things are going, and it's definitely something that will keep you motivated and focused when you, even if you have a moment of doubt or a moment of weakness, if you go back and you look at that and said, I was feeling this was important to me for all of these reasons, so I made, almost like, you make a promise to yourself then.
It's true. Trainers do that. Trainers encourage you to keep a journal of like exercise and food and whatnot. I mean, fitness trainers, that's what I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it keeps you on that path, it shows you your progress, and it can definitely be a huge motivating force. So I think that's a great idea, and I like what the eye-opener is saying a lot this morning.
Well, I know we haven't discussed it yet, but we are moving around that, moving towards that time where people make those promises to themselves.
Oh, yeah.
This can be one that you do, whatever you want to call it, resolution. I know that's a hot topic on its own.
Yep.
But that's our eye-opener for this morning. We got to get moving into our show for today, and of course, there are lots of things that we plan to cover, but we're starting off with getting an update from the Minister of Home Affairs. We know that the national security in general is a very important topic, but the role of our police department specifically has become very critical in our fight against this pandemic. And so we're going to talk to Minister Musa to understand a bit more about what their plans are in moving forward to ensure that we can cut down on some of the rule breaking or regulation breaking that we're seeing.
Yeah. And for our second conversation, we are going to be speaking about marketing support in the hotel industry. Of course, the hotel and tourism industry is one of the hardest, if not the hardest, industry that has been hit by the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we're going to talk a little bit this morning about plans to market and get hotel businesses up and running again. So that's going to be our second conversation.
All right, and we're closing off with some ideas for Christmas gifts. So our good friends and neighbors right here, Full Tech, they're having some Christmas specials, and we're going to find out all about how you can save and what's available, especially as you go through that wonderful shopping exercise as we lead up to Christmas.
Yep, it is Christmas, so you're definitely going to want to find out all about those deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to close off today. So we posed the challenge. And I got to say, you know, I do tend to do that a lot
Yes.
to people. So gladly it's never returned. But so, and Gavin did it.
Yep.
So we did black cake on Tuesday. And you went home and you tried it for yourself. This is the first time you made black cake.
First ever time.
All right.
So we've got a video that I made. The first time I filmed myself and edited a video, so that it was fun for several reasons. But yeah, I'm going to show you about how my black cake making experience, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right, so that's what we're going to close off with today. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about security for Christmas, and we're also going to be talking about the COVID-19 security measures. So please stay tuned.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety. And we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
Todos estamos en riesgo de contraer la COVID-19, por lo que es importante reconocer rápidamente los signos y síntomas de la infección. Los síntomas más comunes son fiebre, tos seca y cansancio o fatiga. Algunas personas también pueden tener dolor de garganta, dolores y molestias, congestión nasal o diarrea. Pero algunas personas también han reportado conjuntivitis, dolor de cabeza, pérdida de sabor u olor, sarpullido en la piel o un cambio en el color de los dedos de las manos o los pies. Los signos de alarma de emergencia que requieren atención médica inmediata son dificultad extrema para respirar, dolor constante y severo o presión en el pecho, confusión, dificultad para hablar o moverse, labios, rostro, dedos de las manos o de los pies azulados. Para mayor información, llame al 0800-664-2273. Protejamos nuestra salud.
With all the changes that 2020 has brought upon us, this holiday season is unlike any other. But despite all those changes, this year has taught us that being apart doesn't mean we can't stay connected. And that's why here at Channel 5, we adapted to keep you connected with relevant and reliable information and entertainment, as we've done for the past 29 years. And so, as we move into the new year with new norms, we promise to continue being here for you through it all. From our family here at Channel 5 to yours, we wish you health, peace, and happiness this season and beyond. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
And we're back and we are moving into our first conversation. Of course, this is our COVID-19 update for today. And we're talking about COVID-19 regulations and the enforcement that comes along with that. So here to have this conversation, we have virtually Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Karim Musa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Marlene and Gavin. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, and of course, good morning to all of your viewers.
Well, let's just dive into it. I think there are a lot of issues on the table when it comes to looking at enforcing the regulations as they currently exist. But let's just touch on that hot topic first, right? What are your thoughts on the strengthening of regulations and the need for a lockdown?
Well, definitely it has been the conversation that has been out there in the public over the last few weeks. Definitely we need to consider a lockdown, and Cabinet on Tuesday rightly put that on the table, and we had hours of discussion on the different options because, as you know, we are having the highest number of COVID cases all across the country, and so we have to devise a plan, devise a way forward in order for us to not just protect the lives of our loved ones, but to also take into consideration other factors, including our economy. As you know, right now, it's Christmas time, and everywhere you go, there is still this hustle and bustle. And to be quite frank, there is not much personal responsibility that you can observe out there. And so many times it is that the police has to take matters into their own hands. And so what you find right now is that a lot of people are being detained under the current quarantine laws. But what that brings is also problems, because that by itself can be a super spreader, to be detaining hundreds of people a day, putting police officers directly in contact with possible COVID positive individuals. We're talking hundreds, and in some cases, like at checkpoints, thousands of people that police officers come in contact with each day. And so that is the discussion that we're having, and starting tomorrow, we're having a press conference. The Ministry of Health, along with the Ministry of Home Affairs, will be having a press conference in order to unveil what the new statutory instrument regulations will be moving forward as we get closer to Christmas and as the numbers continue to rise. What I can tell you off the bat, because they are still refining some of these regulations for the press conference tomorrow, and the intent is to, in fact, make it come into effect on Saturday, the 20th of December. But what I can tell you off the bat, one of the very first discussions that myself, along with the Minister of Health, Minister Shabat, had was regarding the police department and police officers having so much contact with members of the public. Right now, as we stand, Marlene and Gavin, there are 160 police officers from across the country who are infected, currently positive with COVID. From the start of the pandemic, we've had a total number of 360 police officers. And we also have 150 police officers who are awaiting their test results. So you put all those numbers together, and what you have is a severely undermanned police department, understaffed, under-resourced department, having to not just fight crime now, because everything has changed. We are now also fighting COVID. And so we had to put something in place in order to protect the police officers. And what I had suggested and what the cabinet has agreed on is to, in fact, make the violation a ticketable offense. So no longer will police officers have to detain individuals, take them to a police station where they will possibly be in contact with many more individuals and possibly contract COVID, and then the day after have to go to a courthouse and stand up with crowds outside of the court in order just to see the magistrate, in order just to plead guilty or not guilty and have their matter adjourned indefinitely. And at the end of the day, what we are seeing from the magistracy is that individuals found guilty under these quarantine regulations are being fined somewhere in the vicinity of $500, max $1,500. So nobody is being fined this $5,000 maximum. And so what we have done is to devise a way forward that limits the amount of contact and the amount of time that police officers have to deal with these offenders. Because let us be real, we are not taking personal responsibility. We are not acting in a disciplined manner. And so we have to enforce, the police department has to enforce, but we have to do so now because of the spike in COVID, because of it is so rampant within the police department that we now have to limit the contact. So it will now be a ticketable offense. You have the option to pay your fine. The fine will be $500. So there is a reduction in the fine. We fully understand the tough economic times, but at the same time, we can't put it too low. We can't put it at $100 or $150 because then everybody will be taking off their mask and everybody will be not observing social distancing in public. And so that is the way forward. And if you do not pay your fine, then you are going to be given a court date in which you can attend the court in order to dispute the allegations that have been made and the charges that have been made against you. So it does require a radical shift in the way we've been doing things. I think we've been doing it in a very irresponsible manner the way that we have everybody piling up at the police stations, being detained, and then having to go to court. So there is that radical shift when it comes to the policing, the actual policing of the quarantine regulations.
Let me just clarify. You said 500 to 1,500. What's the difference within the fines?
No, what I was saying is that currently, when you are charged under the current legislation, which has a maximum of $5,000 as the penalty, the magistrates have been using their discretion and awarding anywhere between 500 and 1,500. We want to make that standardized across the board. So it will be one set fine of $500. There won't be
no matter what regulation you break. No matter what regulation you break.
No, there will be different, like I said, different offenses will carry a different penalty, but I'm speaking specifically of the most prevalent offense, which is the wearing of face masks, which will carry a penalty of $500. When you look at employers who are in flagrant violation of the quarantine regulations and allowing or forcing, because we have heard reports that some employers are forcing COVID positive patients to come into work. So for those offenders, it will carry a stiffer penalty. We're thinking in the region of $2,000. Like I said, that particular fine has not been set as yet, but by tomorrow at the press conference, we will have those in place.
Well, Minister Musa, that was actually going to be my question, or I was going to get there, speaking of employment and other related issues, because there's a lot of buzz, of course, in the media and on social media as well. There's a heavy and rightly put emphasis on people who are hosting illegal gatherings, but somewhere that it gets lost somewhere in conversation, the other aspects which, of course, the police or the ministry should also be regulating, and that's the activity that, like you described, such as the violation in the workplace, violation in certain businesses that are allowing crowds. So can you talk to us about the approach moving forward, knowing that there's a multifaceted there's multifaceted elements to this spread and ways to contain it?
Definitely. Thanks, Gavin. As you heard or saw yesterday, the ministry put out a press release in which we are actually now creating a COVID task force within the police department that is going to deal specifically with COVID. So now we have an actual hotline, and it is aptly put as 0800 parties, PARTIES. So if you know that your neighbor or someone is having a party or a gathering of more than 10 people in their household, and those 10 people do not reside at that residence, then in fact, we are asking the public to do your part and to call into this hotline 0800 parties or 0800 727 8432. And this is available to both BTL and to Smart customers. So we are asking the public to do their part in reporting these illegal parties, because what they are is illegal. And so we have to crack down on these. As you know, in the last few days, the police has been making some arrests. On Tuesday of this week, on Monday, we had 105 arrests of breach of the quarantine regulations, followed on Tuesday by some 54 people being arrested under the regulations. And so with each passing day, like I said, the police department, they are frontline officers. We have to understand that police officers are people too. As obvious as that sounds, they have families, they have daughters that they have to return to each and every day. The law-abiding citizen and the police are the same. We have to acknowledge that. And so this will take a united effort, not just by the police department, but by all sectors, all departments, and of course, of society joining in cracking down on the increase in COVID cases. And so we're asking people to utilize this new hotline. The COVID task force, we have about 8 officers in each district assigned specifically to deal with COVID, to be a part of the COVID task force and enforcing the regulations. In Belize City, which has the highest population, we have 24 officers in Belize City that are dealing specifically with this task force. So we are very serious. The police department is very serious about enforcing the quarantine regulations, and we're asking the public to likewise be as serious as we are.
So several questions on the ticketing. You know, you rightly mentioned this is a collective responsibility of all, from the very top to the very bottom. I know the current SI has regulations in place for businesses that are not enforcing COVID protocols. And we've definitely seen where some businesses have gotten lax in ensuring whether it's social distancing or providing sanitizing stations and things like that. Are those also going to be ticketable offenses with a fine? And also, what about the homeowners of the properties where social gatherings are taking place?
Yes, what we have found, Marlene, is that employers, especially in the big businesses that have a lot of customers, while it is that some of them have been attempting or trying to regulate the activity and the movement of their customers within these stores, the truth of the matter is that they cannot regulate it, and they have not been regulating it for the most part. And so one of the propositions that we have made, that I made, was that it actually becomes mandatory that the establishment hires a police officer or a justice of the peace in order to regulate within the stores. And of course, the employer would have to bear the cost of that police officer. When it comes to assigning police officers to shops or stores, it is an hourly rate of $13 per hour. But having a third eye within the store, having a police officer there or a justice of the peace, I think just having them alone, the presence will certainly make those shoppers, make those customers aware that in fact police officers are present on this compound, and I need to be very observant of the law, of the regulation. So that is something that we are contemplating putting on the new SI coming out tomorrow.
And you had also touched on the issue of employment and reported cases of employers making positive or people who are waiting for their results go to work. But there's also the issue of of the lack of adequate enforcement of the COVID protocols in the workplace itself. We know sometimes there's offices where people are, in enclosed spaces. They may not be able to socially distance properly. So is that also going to be addressed?
Yes, and it has been, Gavin. The Ministry of Health, along with the Belize Police Department, has been doing some site visits, some sting operations, if you want to call it that, especially at the call centers in Belize City. As you know, the call centers are being allowed to operate. We encourage those who can work from home to do so. But for those call centers where it is absolutely imperative that the worker has to show up to work, we in the Belize Police Department, as well as the Ministry of Health, has been doing these site checks to ensure that there is compliance with, in particular, the social distancing rule of having employees be 6 feet apart at all times, and of course that they are wearing their masks. So we have been policing, we have been enforcing in these call centers. I know that the Ministry of Health, while they do not have the power of arrest, when they do their site checks, they threaten the call centers that they will report it to the police if you continue, and that sort of thing, and of course threaten shutting them down, because we have to also put that on the table, that if you continue to breach these regulations time and time again, we will have no choice but to shut you down, because you are not complying with the law and you are not acting responsibly as a good corporate responsible citizen.
So let's understand a bit more about the task force. Now you have designated officers within the department that will be on patrol and will go out and issue these tickets. Now, Minister, we live in the real world, and I know when you were in opposition, you were very outspoken about how the police exercise their discretion in arresting people for different offenses. What do you ensure to the public today? That there is going to be it's going to be equal across the board for whoever commits these offenses. In other words, we won't see what we've seen in the past where there are more checkpoints and checks taking place on the south side versus the north side, and some people get away with it and others don't.
Well, that touches on the other aspect and the more important aspect of policing, Marlene, and that is crime fighting. And so while some areas may have more police officers present, like for instance, in particular in the St. Martin de Porres area where we have had a spike in criminal activity, in murders in the past month, that is why you will see more police officers stationed in that particular area. But there will, in terms of COVID efforts, there will not be police officers placed in any one particular area for enforcement. And so it is definitely going to be an across-the-board approach. The public can be assured of that. I want to ask the public to do their part, because while I hear the cry every single day that, Minister, I was simply just having a drink of water, but then you don't have a water bottle in your hand, or you don't have food in your hand. And so the explanation that some people are giving does not add up. And in those instances, you cannot expect that police officers will be utilizing their discretion and just give you a warning, because there's no evidence to support what it is that you're trying to say. And so it's a very difficult task, I have to tell you, on the part of the police department, because if it is up to the public, in every single instance, they will have a very valid defense. But at the same time, we cannot have the approach. Officers have to be very aware of the duty that they now have, of the power that they now have, and of course to use their discretion in very obvious cases where somebody is sitting down and having their lunch, or sitting down and hopefully they are social distancing when they're having their lunch. But once they're sitting down having their lunch, officers are to exercise their discretion. But the moment we walk out of our house, we are no longer walking out. We are walking out of our house with a loaded weapon in our hands, you know. You might not be able to see the knife or the gun on the COVID positive patient, but they do have a deadly weapon on them. And so each of us has a responsibility. We have to assume that not just you, Marlene, are positive. We have to assume that I am also positive, and we have to treat each other in that way, that we are all positive. And so at all times, we have to wear our masks and observe social distancing the moment we walk out of our homes.
And the task force in some of the hotspots that we do know, I mean, we know that if we look at the heat wave map, we can see it. There's the Belize district, specifically Belize City, Orange Walk, and Corozal. Belize City, you've already said, will get a larger task force. But when you're talking about Corozal and Orange Walk, there are a lot of rural communities that have to be serviced as well. How are you going to manage those?
Well, police officers countrywide, Marlene, and I have to make this point to avoid any confusion. Police officers countrywide are still going to have the obligation to enforce the quarantine legislation. So while it is that we have a task force that is going to be solely dedicated to COVID, we have to understand that officers countrywide, whether in the rural communities, in the towns, and other parts of the district in San Pedro and Kikocker, they all are going to continue to enforce the regulations. But we're setting up this task force with officers specifically dedicated to COVID, so that they are going to be focused on that and nothing else. And so, like I said, it is only 8 officers per district. I wish we could do more, but at this time, like I said, we are severely understaffed. And so we have to understand that all police officers will be enforcing the regulations that are going to be put out tomorrow.
And Minister, is the police department or speaking of just containing or limiting the spread, is this task force or the police department in general going to also play a big role in monitoring positive cases and enforcing things like people having to isolate or quarantine if they have identified or if they have been identified as a positive case? Because as we know, people moving about while they are positive has been a huge problem, and the lack of oversight or enforcement of the regulations in that regard has also been an issue. So is that also going to be a big part of the task force?
That is a very tricky one, Gavin, a very controversial one. As you know, under the last administration, a law was passed that would mandate that the DHS disclose to the Commissioner of Police or to the Minister of Home Affairs that who are the positive COVID patients within the country of Belize. That was very controversial. It prompted a possible a threat of a resignation by the DHS at the time, and for obvious reasons, because an individual's health status, an individual's, you know, their positive or negative standing when it comes to COVID is supposed to be a private issue. And so while we discuss, much of our discussion this morning is how much it is all of our business, at the same time, that particular instance is something private. And so the police department may not be aware or may not be sure, because you might have neighbors that say, no, my neighbor is positive, but how can the police be certain that in fact that individual has received a positive test? And so that one is very tricky, because there is no type of cooperation coming from the Ministry of Health in that regard to release the names of the COVID positive patients. So it would be a lot of speculation, a lot of hearsay that we would be acting on. And so that one is a little tricky, but I want to again say to those members of the public who have tested positive, you have a duty to your nation, to your family, to your friends, to everyone, to stay in isolation. It cannot be that you're out there in public. And I would want to personally see that we have the ability to get access to that list. But like I said, I fully understand the position of the Ministry of Health in that regard, in keeping the confidentiality and privacy of those patients.
Well, you know, is there still the mandatory quarantine center that's running? Could it be that if you do find someone...
The one in Pine Ridge that was established?
Yeah.
That particular quarantine center, if I recall correctly, was established for border jumpers specifically. My understanding is that it is still there, still available, but not very much utilized, primarily because border jumping is no longer the #1 issue that we are facing. It is right now everywhere across Belize. We have COVID positive patients. I'm sure that you all have family members who are positive, friends who are positive. It is literally now inside our home. It has knocked at each and every one of our doors. So we can't say that, we don't know anybody who is positive. It is now prevalent and across the country. And so now the focus is on enforcing the regulations here in Belize City and across the country. So there's not much focus going into border jumping at this time.
Well, my question was more looking at if you do find a person who is ticketed, who should have been in isolation, it would have been a place perhaps that they can go after the list is sent to health and checked or whatnot, and still maintain confidentiality and also have them face some consequences for reckless decisions. But moving forward, you speak, and I know it's a very serious situation about the number of police officers who have been infected. I know the police department sadly has lost some of their own, and that we also have a number of people who are in quarantine from the department. From what you are telling us in terms of numbers, that could be anywhere around 25% of the force itself out at one time. So,
yes, well, currently, like I said, of those that have tested positive, it's 160. Currently positive, overall it was 360, and we are still awaiting 145 tests results. That is something that we have been working along with the Ministry of Health in order to try to expedite the processing of these tests, because it cannot be that we're waiting around 2 weeks for results to come back for police officers.
But didn't you guys get rapid tests?
They are getting rapid tests.
Oh, you haven't gotten it yet?
Yes, we have. Our officers are getting rapid tests, but in the instances, as the Ministry of Health would tell you, where you continue to be symptomatic.
Okay.
If you are symptomatic after your rapid test comes back negative, you then have to go through a further screening for the PCR, which takes some time to get back. And so while it is that the rapid test, yes, identifies the positive cases and we can isolate those right away, there are a number of 145 of our officers who are awaiting their PCR results because they're symptomatic. So we have to be very sure before we put them back into the force.
You know, I think by nature of the work that the police department does, they interface a lot with the public. But at the same time, you know, there was a time when we got results from Ministry of Health, for example, when frontline workers tested positive, there was a clarity made as to whether or not it was on the job or in their personal life. And it's key because, you know, it means how responsible are you being when you leave the work site as well. And so that's my question to you. Have you, not looking at blaming, but just saying from this point forward, do you then ensure that there is some kind of education done to the police department to know that they have the same responsibilities on the job that they have off the job to protect themselves?
Yes, we have been. I have personally had meetings with the top rank, the top brass of the police department. We did it by Zoom for the very first time, believe it or not, because they were saying, oh, the police don't know how to use Zoom. The media was saying that, but we absolutely know how to do Zoom.
Not this meeting.
And so that is exactly the message that was imparted, Marlene, that not only the education, that it has to come down the ladder in terms of getting all our officers properly informed, not just on the law, but in terms of personal protection for themselves, in terms of getting the adequate PPEs in place. And so that was my call to them a week ago, that we need to get an inventory of all the PPEs. I don't want to see any police officer not wearing their masks. As you rightly pointed out, it is very difficult to trace where exactly a police officer may have contracted, because they deal with hundreds, if not thousands, of members of the public on a daily basis. Many of our officers have to travel from district to district on buses. And so while it is, we cannot pinpoint exactly where it is they have contracted the virus, at the same time, we can make educated guesses, and we can try to limit the amount of travel if necessary. We can try to enforce social distancing protocols within our various departments across the country, or various police stations. We have to try to enforce. And so that is the message that I had with the top brass of the police department a week ago, and it's a continuing effort. It's very, very difficult to administer, since, like you said, policing involves interacting with the public on a daily basis. So that is something that we cannot stop. We cannot stop. We have to continue to enforce the regulations, but at the same time, ensure that our officers are acting responsibly and protecting themselves and members of the public at the same time.
What about the bus situation? We've been hearing this time and time again, and we know that there is an economic issue as well, but clearly there is no social distancing taking place on the bus. And that I'm not sure what the how much level of checks are done to ensure that people are masked and sanitized as they enter as well. What is being proposed to be able to address that situation?
One of the proposals that came to Cabinet and that was approved is in relation to exactly that, Marlene. The buses and the boats traveling between the city, San Pedro and Kikaker, we are proposing that it should have a maximum of 50% of the capacity of the vessel or the bus. And so if your bus has 60 seats, you can only have 30 passengers on your bus at any time, and as best as possible, the passengers on those buses have to observe social distancing. So it's a radical shift. It is one I'm sure the bus operators will not be happy with, but we have to come down heavy. It is, in fact, one of the close quarters, one of the everybody on a bus, as you just said, there is overcrowding sometimes. And so we're going to have police officers strategically located on the highway to check these buses regularly to ensure that they are following that 50% rule that will be put in place on Saturday.
Is that going to be tied to price control?
I think that is something that the ministry is tweaking at the moment, and definitely we will have to hear from the Minister of Transport in that regard and come up with the proper pricing when it comes to the bus travels and the boat travels.
And since, you know, these matters are discussed in cabinet, did you, you know, there's also school buses that are on contract with Ministry of Education that are not being used because children are going to school. To alleviate some of the crowding that we see.
Indeed, that's a very good suggestion, Marlene. And we are looking at all of those options to utilize those buses that are down at the moment that are not being used to see how we can get those on stream and be a part of the regular bus runs.
Mm-hmm. Now, another issue I know that I have seen being floated is looking at the alcohol situation. You know, people can still go to restaurants. Bars do offer some food, so they are open. People gather at these institutions, and that's where they're socializing. In San Pedro, we've gotten reports that essentially it's, you know, still hanging out at a bar and some tapas to use as a cover, for lack of a better term. Any thoughts on being able to restrict open drinking? You know, people still purchase, they go to their homes. But to minimize the socialization that takes place, it not only lowers your inhibition from following the protocols, but it's also, you know, you're without a mask.
Absolutely, Marlene, and that is, I didn't want to come and let out all of the regulations on your show today, but that is one of the regulations that was discussed and that we will be implementing at 6 p.m. We are going to be regulating. It's going to be a cutoff point for the purchasing of alcohol across the country. So that is something very important. Like you said, it's not that necessarily people have to go to bars to drink, but what you find is that people are now gathering in parks. They're now gathering along the seaside to drink, that sort of thing, drink alcohol. And so it is a huge problem. We have identified that problem, and we will be cracking down on it. Like I said, it's going to be regulated at 6 p.m. No alcohol will be served after 6 p.m. So that is going to be one of the regulations tomorrow.
Now, will you also rely on other security forces to kind of enhance the work of enforcement?
We had a very productive meeting yesterday with the Minister of Defense and the Ministry that governs the Coast Guard. And I apologized because at this time of year, it is very difficult for the police alone to carry out all of the policing duties. And so we do have to rely heavily on the BDF. And so Minister Florencio Marin was very understanding of the crisis that we are in. They themselves are overworked. As you know, they are employed also to do NEMO work. So when we had the flooding, a lot of the military was utilized in that effort. But when it comes to policing across the country, you may see that there are members of the Belize Defense Force who are also alongside police officers. So we have been utilizing the BDF because we are currently undermanned within the department. So it's very important that we have this type of cooperation. And like I said, I want to thank the Minister, Florencio Marin, who understands the crisis that we are in. But at the same time, he mentioned to me, I have to understand that their soldiers are putting in overtime as well. So we are thankful for all the frontline officers, not just the police department, but the BDF, and of course, our healthcare professionals who day in and day out, they've been working, Marlene and Gavin, from February, March of this year every single day. I can't imagine what those lab technicians must go through every single day, doing the same thing over and over and not having a break for themselves. So we have to give a special shout out to our frontline officers, all of them who continue to put their lives on the line for us each and every day.
And Minister, as we are running out of time quickly, I still did want to ask and shift gears just a little bit, just to talk about crime. Just because, as you did mention earlier, the police...
It's really our job, you're right.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah. The police, of course, are tasked with fighting COVID, but of course their mandate is to fight crime. You mentioned earlier about the violence which we've seen in the areas of the city, and we know that crime is a huge issue countrywide, and especially with the economic fallout, we've heard reports of certain crimes that are on the rise as well. So I just wanted to ask a bit about some of the plans or the strategies that you would have to fight that problem. We know that the previous administration did things like imposing states of emergency and to fight some of the issues like that. So what can you say about plans to tackle some of these issues in conjunction with all that's going on with the pandemic?
Very good question, and appropriately put to the Minister of Home Affairs, Gavin. You are totally right. We have been working on plans, short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans within the Ministry of Home Affairs. In terms of the short-term goals, we have to do interventions within these gang-ridden areas, the high violence areas, and we have been successful in our interventions in the St. Martin's de Porres area, thanks to the efforts of the CYDP, Ms. Westby, Mr. Nouri Mohammed, and of course our Commissioner of Police. Those have been successful interventions. So in addition to putting more officers on patrol in these crime-ridden areas and quelling the violence, we also have an excellent intervention team. So I want to commend them for the good work that they have been doing. In terms of the medium-term plans of our ministry, it will be focused, Gavin, on innovation and technology. That is the direction that I want to go as minister. I want to see these things streamlined across the board. Every single aspect of policing now has to have a component of utilizing technology. There's so much technology out there that we can put to good use. We're talking from face recognition cameras to assist us, because we are having a lot of difficulty getting eyewitnesses to cooperate in giving statements against offenders. And so we have to utilize technology and the advancements that have been made available to us. And so that is what you're going to see as we progress on with the crime fighting strategies, is greater use of technology and innovation. In terms of the long-term plan of the ministry, it's going to take a united effort, Gavin. It's going to take the Ministry of Education. We have to fulfill our goals. Once our economy is able to rebound and bounce back, we have to make education free across this country. We have to make more opportunities, more jobs available to our young people, because that is the long-term goal. We have to tackle the root causes of crime. At the Ministry of Lands, we need to make land more available across the board, especially to the most marginalized in our country. These are the types of goals, these are the types of objectives. Once we are able to implement them in the long term, we will see results, because we cannot fight crime without first fighting poverty. And so that has to be our long-term plan, to get our plans in place. But for the time being, what we're doing is fighting crime in the short term, looking to innovation and technology in the medium term, and of course, resolving the entire issue of poverty has to be our long-term goal.
Absolutely. Now, and just on the topic of state of emergencies as a way to quell increasing crimes, you still maintain the position you had as opposition?
Yes, the position we had as opposition is that we did not find it to be very constitutional. But at the same time, you have to understand that at times it does get out of control, crime gets out of control, and you have to take drastic measures. So we're not removing it from the table altogether. As you can see from the efforts and the interventions that we made in the St. Martin, the poorest area over the last month, it would have had the same effect had we done the state of emergency. So it shows and proves that there is an alternative to the state of emergency. If we can get the young men into the room together to discuss with them and to have them discuss with each other to resolve their differences on a one-on-one basis in a meaningful way, I think that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It proves that interventions do work. So 30 days ago, if you had locked up these young men and you are now releasing them 30 days later, there might be violence again because they may not have that type of discussion while incarcerated, that opportunity to discuss with one another to try to resolve their differences. And so, I cannot emphasize enough the work that Brother Nuri Mohammed, Ms. Westby, and the commissioner have been doing in terms of these interventions. They don't get enough praise, and so I think we in the public need to acknowledge that, because when crime spikes, we're all very quick to jump and criticize, but when there is a lull and there is quiet, we don't say anything. We don't give kudos to those who deserve it. So I just want to thank those three individuals and others in the community, because crime is a universal issue. And so we in the Ministry of Home Affairs, we want to, again, as part of our medium-term plan, to bring back the Crime Control Council, to bring back the stakeholders on board, the churches, civil society, businessmen and women, bring them to the table to hear their concerns and to devise the plan and the strategies forward, because like COVID, crime is a universal issue, and we all have to have all hands on deck in order to resolve these issues.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with us this morning and giving us a glimpse as to what we can expect as we move forward. Any closing message? This might be the last time we talk to you before Christmas.
Yes, I want to say, Marlene and Gavin, thank you very much for having me on this morning. And of course, to all your viewers out there, let us be safe as we go into the Christmas season. I want to wish all of my constituents in Caribbean shores and Belizeans all across the country and abroad a very safe and blessed Christmas. And let us fight together. Let us fight COVID. Let us fight crime together.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Well, Merry Christmas to you and your family. And of course, please stay safe.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with the Belize Hotel Association about how to market in COVID times. That's coming up in a few. Please stay tuned.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service. Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Why, Tony?
Boy, Keith, where you going, man?
We actually can see we can need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just routed the last batch, must be about like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? What are you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
Research on the impact of COVID-19 infection on pregnant women is limited. Right now, pregnant women are at higher risk of severe illness than the general population. Pregnancy can affect the way a woman's body handles respiratory infections. If you are pregnant, protect yourself against COVID-19. Wash hands frequently using soap and water for at least 40 seconds. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizer if soap and water are not available. Cover cough or sneeze with tissue and throw used tissue in a bin. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces such as doorknobs, counters, phones, and tablets. Practice physical distancing. Work from home if possible. Avoid contact with anyone who has fever, cough, and cold or flu-like symptoms. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth without first washing your hands with soap and water. If you have fever, cough, and feel extra tired, call 0800-MOH-CARE. Help keep Belize safe.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Smart got you this December with the We Kinda Christmas promotion. Starting December 4th, you can avoid the rush and be safe while visiting our showrooms to get these one-of-a-kind deals.
Devices start as low as $70 with the Evo Star Mobile. Other devices like the Nokia 2V for just $165, Motorola E6 for only $235, and Samsung A51 for $675. Check this out. The first 10 persons to purchase any of our iPhone 7s get 50% off that device. Each device comes with 50 SMS, $10 promo credit, plus 2 gigabytes of data, all for free.
Looking for tablets? Then take advantage of the Amazon Kindle 8-inch for $155. Or get a Samsung Tab A10.
All phones come with a starter pack, free SMS, credit and data, plus an extra Christmas treat of 2 gigabytes data, package valued at over $27 for free.
Now this, that's we kind of prices, and you can only get them at Smart.
And we're back, and we are just getting our second conversation for this morning started, and we're shifting gears a little bit, and we're talking all about the hotel industry. Specifically, we're talking about marketing during the times of COVID, and we are going to learn about some plans to provide some marketing support to the hotel sector, and we are speaking with representatives from the Belize Hotel Association. We have with us, joining us by Skype, Andrea Reno, who is a membership and marketing coordinator from the Hotel Association. We have Simone Bell, who is also a membership and marketing manager. And we also have Lisa Carr Caceres, who is the owner of Banana Bank Lodge. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Now, of course, we all know that tourism and specifically the hotel industry has taken a huge hit because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And before we get into talking about the strategies for marketing, can you, perhaps somebody can sort of start us off on just describing sort of the impact that COVID has had on the hotel sector, and also why there's a need to do an initiative like this one?
Okay, I think I can take that one.
Sure.
As everyone is aware, this has been a very difficult year for the industry. And as such, we have seen a decline in visitor arrivals of up to 65% of what we were performing last year. This is the addition to the amount of unemployment that has affected the industry. And the industry is not.
Okay, so Simone, sorry, I hate to interrupt, but we're not hearing you clearly. So, you want to? We'll take a quick break. Yeah, we'll take a break and try to get this audio started, because I don't want you guys to miss out on getting your message out. So, you know, we'll be back in a few. To our viewers, of course, this is TV in the time of pandemic. So we'll get that sorted out, and we will be back in a few.
Smart got you this December with the We Kinda Christmas promotion. Starting December 4th, you can avoid the rush and be safe while visiting our showrooms to get these one-of-a-kind deals.
Devices start as low as $70 with the Evo Star Mobile. Other devices like the Nokia 2V for just $165, Motorola E6 for only $235, and Samsung A51 for $675. Check this out. The first 10 persons to purchase any of our iPhone 7s get 50% off that device. Each device comes with 50 SMS, $10 promo credit, plus 2 gigabytes of data, all for free.
Looking for tablets? Then take advantage of the Amazon Kindle 8-inch for $155, or get a Samsung Tab A10.
All phones come with a starter pack, free SMS, credit and data, plus an extra Christmas treat of 2 gigabytes data, a package valued at over $27 for free.
Now this, that's we kind of prices, and you can only get them at Smart.
Research on the impact of COVID-19 infection on pregnant women is limited. Right now, pregnant women are at higher risk of severe illness than the general population. Pregnancy can affect the way a woman's body handles respiratory infections. If you are pregnant, protect yourself against COVID-19. Wash hands frequently using soap and water for at least 40 seconds. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizer if soap and water are not available. Cover cough or sneeze with tissue and throw used tissue in a bin. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces such as doorknobs, counters, phones, and tablets. Practice physical distancing. Work from home if possible. Avoid contact with anyone who has fever, cough, and cold or flu-like symptoms. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth without first washing your hands with soap and water. If you have fever, cough, and feel extra tired, call 0800-MOH-CARE. Help keep Belize safe.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Why, Tony?
Why, kid? What are you going on, man?
We actually can see we can need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just noted the last batch must have been like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? What are you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
Every day, young persons are infecting older and high-risk family members and friends with the COVID-19 virus. This Christmas could become the super spreader event we've all been afraid of. The end result is suffering and a horrible death. Please, do not let a couple of hours of fun cause a lifetime of mourning and pain. Practice social distancing, wash hands often, and wear your mask properly. Staying home this Christmas will ensure many more with your loved ones in the years to come. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
And we're back, and we got it sorted so we can proceed with our conversation. As we had mentioned earlier, conversation now is with the Belize Hotel Association, talking about marketing during this time and the support that they're offering to their membership in the hotel sector. So we were starting off with just kind of hearing how things are going at this time, a synopsis of the situation, and we have Simone Bell, who is the membership and marketing manager, to tell us about that.
Okay, so good morning. So what we experienced a while ago is just a snapshot of the difficulties that the industry is facing. Actually, as I began to say, the industry overall has been affected by decreasing bookings, and this is because of what is taking place in the airlines. This is what has been taking place with the various lockdowns in each country, not only in Belize, and it has definitely sent a signal to the travel market that you need to proceed with caution. Yeah. So the stats for Belize have showed that since March, our arrivals have declined for overnight bookings for about 64%. And in total bookings is down by 85%, because that would also factor in what is happening in the cruise industry. Now, when we look at figures like this, they appear to be dismal, but this is something that is happening industry-wide. We're not the only members that are being affected. We have seen that there are other countries that have applied less restrictions where entry is concerned, and they tend to be faring off. But the general push is to market a very safe and healthy environment with upgraded protocols, so that the visitors can know that we are insured. And Belize has adopted that strategy in the form of the gold standard, which BTB initiated, and that has been doing very well to signal to the travel industry that we are taking this pandemic very seriously. However, for our hoteliers and our tour operators and our business providers and service providers, it has become increasingly challenging, because we are very reliant on the traffic that comes to the country for tourism. And as such, with the decreases, we are now forced to come up with new and innovative ideas in order to capture markets that perhaps were not as much of a main focus. And I know a lot of local initiatives have started. One of these initiatives, which we're here to highlight today, is actually the magazine. This is something that has been going on since 2008. You know, the Belize Hotel Association has made sure that we've had a publication that highlights not only our members, but the entire industry, and it features our members. So these are some of the initiatives that are on the ground for marketing, but it definitely has been a very challenging experience for all of our members and the industry on whole.
From what you know so far with your members, are there any properties that still remain closed at this time?
We do have properties that are still closed. We have properties that recently opened as of last week, and there are smaller properties that are waiting for the final phase of the Safe Corridor to actually reopen, because the BT had an entry phase, and we are adhering to the protocols that were outlined by the BTB. And as such, each member will be operating as best as they can see fit. We also have members that perhaps will not reopen because it has been a casualty for their business. And this is just the reality of the situation.
Well, that was going to be my next question, to ask if anyone decided to just close down the business. And are you seeing this with more small properties, medium properties? What's the demographic there?
It's a broad range. Like, for instance, what we would have is our larger properties deferring to open, because we have to consider maintenance, we have to consider employees, etc. And if the traffic is there, it's not sustainable for a large property to open. And then with the smaller properties, they're very personal investments, and if they don't have the continued cash flow to sustain their operation, then they would experience challenges. I mean, we're very grateful for the companies that have stepped in, the MSME programs, the loans from DFC, where they were offering rates to our members, and the hospitality industry in general at 6%. So there are instruments in the market that have helped us, but it's demand factors and just pure economics, because if the business is not there to sustain them, then they will eventually have to make that decision, which is a critical decision. And we're hoping that initiatives that the BTB and the BHA work on, in addition to the BTIA, will help to push the hope, because right now we do have statistics to say that people are looking to travel, and right now people are traveling. I mean, our neighbors next door are experiencing occupancy rates of 65%, which is phenomenal in a situation like that. Pardon me?
Mexico?
Yes, Mexico is seeing up to 65% in occupancies in their hotels, and that's because they've adopted different strategies. And what will work for them may not necessarily work for us, but at the same time, people are traveling, and what we need to do is be able to ignite that spark, make that traveler want to see Belize as that next option, And it's the publications like the directories, and it's the initiatives that, you know, the BTB launches with its marketing agencies, and it's the work that we do on the ground to just spur that local interest with our local traveler who can experience that property that they've always wished and dreamed to partake in, that will help us remain buoyant in the market, because we definitely need the support of everyone at this time, or local travelers or international travelers. They're all needed at this time. And a directory such as this facilitates learning, and people are exploring and wanting to know more about Belize. And we are glad to be a part of this, and that we've been contributing to this for the past decade plus.
And you know, you said something pretty interesting earlier, and that was about the initiative in finding or reaching out to new markets that perhaps were not traditional. And I want to talk a little bit more about that, especially because I would imagine that just on a whole, worldwide, traveling and and tourism during the pandemic must be the dynamics of it must be completely different than it was even, you know, a year ago. So finding new markets in the best of times might have been somewhat difficult. So can you talk about it in the context of the pandemic?
Well, with everything, there's always opportunity. And what I will share with you is that I am aware that because other markets are experiencing difficulty, and because they're closing and implementing strategy, then it presents the opportunity for Belize to emerge as a considerable factor. We were one of the first to market in terms of opening for the Caribbean. We opened on October 1st, and we still had several of our counterparts who are, I mean, even Trinidad to this date is closed off to airline traffic. So the ability to now experience areas is one for the consumer, but another key part and a very instrumental part in what is going to take place in the next couple of months for Belize is the work that we are doing with the travel agent sector. Because for those who have experienced locations that are completely closed off, they are now looking for new opportunities in the market. Who can we sell? How can we form new agreements? And with the work that the BHA is putting in, we're constantly in contact with these travel agents, trying to expose Belize on the international stage as an option. I know personally that we've connected with reps that previously sold Bonaire, reps that were selling Argentina, because the dynamics for each location has shifted. And with that has come a very viable opportunity for us to be able to access more markets.
Let's talk to Lisa for a second here. And you are the owner of Banana Bank Lodge, and so tell us what it's been like for you.
Well, good morning. First of all, we are very grateful for the local market. Very, very grateful. Banana Bank has always catered to local events as well as international. So we did have several, you know, we do our horseback riding, and we did have guests throughout the months, the past 6 months. However, you know, it is hard to sustain that way. Still, we've had to downsize our staff, of course, and just pull back in a lot of areas. But it's been a learning experience, let me put it that way. As Simone just said, there's an opportunity in absolutely everything. So we just have to grab onto those opportunities and forge ahead.
What's the level of interest that you're getting? Yesterday, the Minister of Tourism said that the hotline is being used quite often to get information about the safety of traveling to Belize due to COVID. What's the interest like at your property, and how much of it is COVID related? The concerns they have, that is.
Yeah, I think the interest to travel is undoubtedly there. People are getting stir crazy or cabin fever or whatever you want to call it. But then I think when they actually get into the actual doing booking, sometimes they get cold feet. So we are getting a lot of inquiries. We have had some cancellations. People who had already booked have canceled because I think when it just gets right to that point where they're actually going to go out, they get concerned. We recently had a cancellation for a larger group. Larger groups don't want to be as well. They have the concern of having, liability issues. So it's a process, and we just have to be able to address all of those concerns one by one. I do believe that the gold standard protocols and getting the information out there that we are safe, we have a safe corridor. I think that's important, and that's part of BHA's, BTB and BHA, I should say, our mandate. So that's all about getting the message out there that we are safe, we are adhering to the protocols, we're implementing them. I believe it's now half of the hotels are in fact gold standard already, and many more are applying. So, it's a process, it's a journey, but I believe we're getting there. So we just have to gain the confidence of the traveler that we are a safe destination. By nature, we're socially distanced anyway. We have our population is scattered, which is a good thing. And I believe as we get the word out there more and more and more, the visitors will continue to increase and come.
So let's talk about new approaches. And in every challenge, we all know there's some opportunity there. Different countries have taken different approaches. Some have kind of eased their travel restrictions and expectations upon arrival. Some had created, safety zones. Some are marketing to work from homers. I've even seen ads for people who are homeschooling. So there's so many different areas that Belize can be able to access. What's the plan from your end that you think will work best for us, that you're encouraging the membership to follow?
Well, I think in the past, we've always sort of been more focused on short-term stays and vacation, and that definitely is an area that Belize can explore and do more long-term stays, where we actually are putting together an initiative for a work where you play per se, and so it's a opportunity. Like Simone said before, it's a huge opportunity for all of us to move in a direction of alternatives. But at the same time, not forget the just the regular come for a vacation. We are pushing as well the entries being as fluid as possible, so that getting here is not an issue, but staying here should even be less of an issue. So we're working on all of that.
Okay.
And perhaps Andrea or Simone can touch on this. Just in the marketing strategy, perhaps you can explain ways in which we can market Belize as a safe travel destination, and also touching on Marlene's question a little bit to different types of travelers, because as you know, Lisa just stated that we've been focusing a lot on short-term visitors, but we know that tourism is multifaceted. People can be coming for a lot of different reasons. So I'm wondering what some of the messages are that can be spread to attract visitors to come to Belize, despite all the difficulties that might have been brought on because of the pandemic.
Belize's product is dynamic, and I think what we're focusing on right now is regenerative tourism. I think placing our product in the various markets that they're they're needed is very important. Highlighting what we have to offer in terms of the work from home program is exceptional. We have counterparts such as Barbados who have launched a very significant program that's very far reaching. Belize can adopt a similar strategy, and I believe it is being worked on, so we're almost there. In addition to that, we have to employ, as Minister Musa said, the use of technology. The shift is dynamic. Our core focus as the BHA used to be the travel trade market, and we used to attend in excess of 22 trade shows each year in order to deliver our product to the consumer. Now that has changed, so the aspect of digital marketing and all the various components have to be utilized in order for us to remain at the forefront. We are going to see a lot of virtual meetings taking place. So in terms of smaller properties engaging business, it's not going to be the traditional brochures. It's not going to be the traditional come and see us, because we are competing globally. The recognition program that we have in place is a very key aspect, because as Ms. Lisa said, safety is the first and foremost dynamic here. If you're to look at a Google trend search, Belize COVID, and searching about Belize and what we're doing about COVID is probably the #1 search that's coming out of Belize right now. Next to that would probably be Belize vacation. So it has shifted what the consumer is looking for, and continuing to present that we are ready and that we have the protocols in place in order to capture the markets is one aspect. And then using disruptive technologies, I mean, forming synergies with agencies and countries that we've never formed synergies before is going to make sure that we remain a very integral component of the tourism product.
Okay. Now, when you move forward, because I know that this is something that you really want to work on with your membership and offer to the hotel sector, is this kind of like a trial basis? We're going to see what works. This is living in the pandemic has taught us one thing, the information, and we're understanding more as we go along. So how much of this is based on data, or is it just kind of guessing where the direction will be?
Well, it's a bit of both, because we have substantive data coming out of the Latin American markets. We have partners such as Expedia, TripAdvisor, who have international statistics that are able to guide us in making decisions. We have the STR report, which is a traditional hotel report that provides data as well. But with anything that is new, Marlene, there will be some guesswork. There will be some trying of methods, seeing what is best, what works, what doesn't work, and we proceed along the way. I mean, this disruption is not only local. Each country is trying to figure it out. And if you see the fluidity of the changes that have taken place for every territory, it's not rocket science. This is something that we have to apply a technique, test it. If it works, it doesn't work. The order of the techniques is something that may also affect us. But I know our leaders have a tremendous job, or BTB has, as the destination marketer, has a tremendous job. And then BHA has actually been working avidly to make sure that the digital component of our marketing strategy is there. And I think at this time it would be very appropriate for us to speak about the guide, because that is one of the key aspects that would be moving forward in terms of how do we connect the dots? How do we place our product in front of people? And I think Andrea would be able to help you with that, because she's worked very hard to pull this together.
No, it's definitely true. But just before that, though, I think that one of the things I wanted to ask is, where are we hoping to get tourists from? Because if you're living in a country, like people in the United States, where the pandemic seems out of control or feels out of control, it's a whole different dynamic from an area where it perhaps feels more contained, or, that it gives people a bit more confidence in moving around.
Which is true. So for instance, a strategy that has been implemented recently is the emergence of travel bubbles. So for instance, the Caribbean is looking at establishing a travel bubble, which would make commuting regionally, because we do have Caribbean regional tourists, and that is an area of focus that we can look at. We also have, in terms of the lockdowns in the various areas, we have direct flights that are coming from Los Angeles, that's coming from Denver, that's coming from Wyoming. So those are the key areas that we would focus on. Our primary market for Belize has always been the United States, and that area is actually the area of most activity right now. So I think our core focus would be how do we capture as much of that market as possible. But then we've always had key working relationships with Canadians and Europeans who are a little bit more conservative. And there are other factors that they would consider. For instance, travel insurance. Travel insurance had played a significant role in the pandemic, and where people are allowed to fly to. You have the local policies such as quarantining upon return, you know. So what we need to do is identify the areas. Mexico for us is an emerging market. It's right next door. Yes, our borders are temporarily closed, but I mean, I believe Tropicair has now reintroduced their flights to Cancun. So we can fly in from El Salvador. So near markets like that are areas that we should focus on and perhaps try to establish a travel bubble within that area.
Interesting. All right, Andrea, tell us all about the guide and what it is called. Disruptive advertising, disruptive marketing. I know that's the, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, we had to shuffle a little bit just now.
I understand, yes, I understand. But let's.
Yes, yes, the guide, which is the reason we're here.
Go ahead and tell us all about it. How are you disrupting the scene there?
Well, I don't think we're disrupting the scene. I think what we're doing is trying to take advantage of the digital platforms that are available to us now, and to shift more from print, which is not dead. Ms. Lisa is going to tell you print is not dead, but to shift our focus on technologies. I mean, we did have technical difficulties this morning, but it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And I think this year's guide, which would be, I think, the 12th or 13th year that the BHA is publishing this directory. I think it is actually fitting that it be a digital guide as opposed to a print guide, because the Belize Hotel Associations, and it's actually the title of the directory is quite long. It's the official accommodation guide for Belize. It essentially is that it highlights our member properties, obviously, because they are our members. Historically, they would get a free half-page listing. This year, all of our members got a full-page listing. And we also highlight our DMC members, our destination management companies, as well as our allied partners. So I don't know if you all are familiar, but there are magazine platforms, there are digital platforms that allow you to distribute without print. Because being that I've done this before, being that I've been in the publication world for a little bit, I know how difficult it is to distribute, and sometimes you end up with boxes of
printed books,
you never got rid of. You know what I mean? Or you couldn't distribute. So this year we are taking what seems to be bad eggs and try to make an omelet. Like we're just trying to make the best of the situation, because like Simone rightly said, we are pushing for hope, because for now it might seem dismal, it might seem difficult, especially for our members that are suffering and that may have to make difficult decisions. But what we're pushing for is that together as an industry, not just as a membership, but together in our entirety as an industry, we can survive this, and we can innovate, and we can find other ways.
I am extremely biased, I'll say that here, to just think that we have such a marketable product. If I was living in any of the areas that people are flying, it's less time in the airport, no layovers, it's such a spread out country. You have fresh air. I could do a banana bank and then head on to an eco resort on an island as well and get the best of both worlds.
And even the activities that you can do there. There's so many outdoors, whether it's the sea or the interior. a lot of the stuff that you can do is actually very COVID safe.
Yeah.
So in terms of distancing and stuff, so I think, yeah, just to...
No, I think so. Go ahead.
Sorry. Especially in contrast with, for example, let's say Mexico is doing so well and they have mass tourism. So
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Cabo and you go to Cancun to go out to party, to have drinks, right?
Yeah.
In Belize, you come to experience nature. You come for a purpose, and that's something that we have highlighted in this year's publication, that Belize is very much a place where you travel for more than just R&R. You travel for a purpose. You travel for conservation. You travel to make a difference. You travel for your health, for your wellness. So our product, like again Simone had said, it's very niche, very dynamic, and if we don't lose our hope right now, I'm sure that we can turn it around.
Yeah. And you know, with the vaccine rollout, it definitely shows that there's a lot of promise ahead as people feel safer if they've been vaccinated to move around. What's the most important thing that you tell members that they have to keep on saying or posting or publishing or ensuring is a part of their messaging when they're trying to attract tourists?
First of all, that it's safe. We have been encouraging our members to adhere to all the health and safety protocols since there were health and safety protocols. I think the BHA actually was one of the organizations that, as COVID hit, we were trying to find solutions as to how we can continue to keep an open market despite the situation that we're in. I mean, obviously, health is mostly our priority, but we legitimately have concerns about our businesses, about our members that, you know, will have to close. So it's up in the air. What is it that we need to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
But we do know that we have a goal, we have a mission, and the mission is to work together to be able to move forward.
And the CDC rating of level 4, has that had any impact? I mean, to be clear, though, you know, it's almost the entire world that's at level 4.
Right.
But has that had any impact whatsoever?
Of course. I mean, that's our main market has always been North America.
Yeah.
And, you know, we do live in a sensationalist culture where if, you know, someone says the sky is falling, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
So I will say, yeah, I think the CDC 4 that we're in right now has made a big impact, as well as the airlines that are no longer flying in, or that are not going to be, you know, resuming service until maybe next year. So there are a lot of factors against us, but like I said, we're a ray of sunshine over here, and we would love to introduce the 2021 Official Accommodation Guide of Belize.
So how do people access it?
Well, great that you asked, Marlene. On our website, you can go to www.belizehotels.org. And you can access it from there. And we're also implementing the use of a digital platform called Jumab, which allows us to distribute digitally, and is actually an interactive platform where, for example, our members have hot links. So when you scroll through, and let's say you stop on just for the sake Banana Bank. Banana Bank's ad. It pops up, it's highlighted, you can click on it and you go directly to their site. So it's us essentially giving our members direct hits and direct access to whomsoever the readership or viewership is.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And so, I mean, is it still also, I know this isn't great for your members, but it is very attractive to the rest of people, including Belizean travelers. Are we still seeing really great rates that we don't normally get?
Of course.
Okay.
Are you kidding? I have traveled more. No, don't say that. I don't want to say that because I don't want to get in trouble because I say I'm a super spreader. Yes, of course. I actually just recently a fellow member kind of just opened, they have a $150 a night rate for Belizeans.
Yeah.
I mean, a luxurious location like Canada for $150 a night is unheard of.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for Belizeans to travel within their country.
Yeah.
I mean, travel safely, of course. We're not saying, jump in a car with 10 people and go on a group vacation, but we're saying take advantage of these rates, take advantage of the climate right now, because what if we come back and it goes up to $400 US a night and then you can't go.
Yeah. So this is still a great opportunity for Belizean travelers. I know there are people who are living abroad who are counting down till they can come back and get some time back in Belize. And of course, we're still relying very much on our international tourists to make their way on down here.
Right.
All right. Well, we appreciate the conversation this morning. The guide, as you said, is available on the Belize Hotel Association website. You also have a Facebook page where I imagine people can get that link as well. And we appreciate the check-in. We know that it is absolutely critical for all of us that you all are able to see the rebound in tourism. And so we wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Marlene and Gavin.
Stay safe. Stay safe, Lisa.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. So if you want to check out what accommodations will suit your needs, you can check out the 2021 Hotel Belize Accommodation Guide, and you can get that at the Belize Hotel Association's website. You can also find them on Facebook and check out the link there as well. But we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll help you with that Christmas shopping, right?
Yep, we are going to be joined by representatives from Fulltech Systems Limited, and they're going to tell us all about their special deals that they have coming up for Christmas. So please stay tuned, and we'll be right back after the break.
Smart got you this December with the We Kinda Christmas promotion. Starting December 4th, you can avoid the rush and be safe while visiting our showrooms to get these one-of-a-kind deals.
Devices start as low as $70 with the Evo Star Mobile. Other devices like the Nokia 2V for just $165, the Motorola E6 for only $235, and Samsung A51 for $675. Check this out. The first 10 persons to purchase any of our iPhone 7s get 50% off that device. Each device comes with 50 SMS, $10 promo credit, plus 2 gigabytes of data, all for free.
Looking for tablets? Then take advantage of the Amazon Kindle 8-inch for $155. Or get a Samsung Tab A10.
All phones come with a starter pack, free SMS, credit and data, plus an extra Christmas treat of 2 gigabytes data, a package valued at over $27 for free.
Now that's We Kinda prices. And you can only get them at Smart.
Research on the impact of COVID-19 infection on pregnant women is limited. Right now, pregnant women are at higher risk of severe illness than the general population. Pregnancy can affect the way a woman's body handles respiratory infections. If you are pregnant, protect yourself against COVID-19. Wash hands frequently using soap and water for at least 40 seconds. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizer if soap and water are not available. Cover cough or sneeze with tissue and throw used tissue in a bin. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces such as doorknobs, counters, phones, and tablets. Practice physical distancing. Work from home if possible. Avoid contact with anyone who has fever, cough, and cold or flu-like symptoms. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth without first washing your hands with soap and water. If you have fever, cough, and feel extra tired, call 0800 MOH-CARE. Help keep Belize safe.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank. Our country. Your bank.
Why, Tony?
Boy, kid, where you going, man?
I actually come see you because I need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just routed the last batch, must have been like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have that thing? Where you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
We are back and we're moving into our final conversation for today where I think I just checked. These are some of Santa's volunteers. So they're going to be telling us all about Christmas specials that are taking place at Fulltech Systems. And we're joined this morning by Patricia Vanson, who is the Senior Sales Executive, and Trevor Renault, who is the Assistant General Manager. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, and season greetings from Fulltech Systems.
All right, and we send greetings all the way over there, right? But let's talk about what's happening at Fulltech. You know, you definitely, I know, have some great deals that people can take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, we do have excellent deals that customers can take advantage of. The entire thing is that we want customers to have a peace of mind whenever they purchase their technological products from Fulltech Systems. Every single thing that you see here, we have warranties. Every single laptop comes with a 1-year warranty. That is that we want to leave our customers whenever they're making that investment in technology. This is a specific time period in our lives during the pandemic where our technology is much more valuable than anything. You need the modes of communication. You can get a headset, an actual laptop, a PC. You know, there are many, many things that you can give from a technology standpoint that would better someone during these hard times, right?
I think a very important point that Trevor made is that our products comes with warranty, and that is specifically because we have partnered ourselves with some of the most recognized companies in the IT industry, companies such as Dell, APC, HP, HPE, Fortinet, and so forth. And so as a company, we're able to offer the best warranty and the best prices for our products and our solutions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was listening to you guys earlier on, and I think it was the thought of the day of where you said you guys could write down stuff on paper.
Yeah.
So with Office 365 or most of the Office products, you have OneNote, your diary. So that is easily accessible. It's forever and ever. Which is easier because then in there with Office 365, you could utilize your mobile phone, your tablet, your PC, your laptop, all made of different technology that people get to handle your digital diaries for today. And earlier on, Minister of Home Affairs actually mentioned that he's looking forward, in transitioning into more technology, and that's system coming so that we can help you guys to implement a lot of the different digital technologies and utilize our resources, our partnerships that we do have to have a better planning, better implementation of these technologies.
You know,
so I mean, we're
I was going to say, I think lessons from the pandemic, as far as we are, technology can no longer be listed as a luxury. It is a necessity. It's a necessity to even get through these times. But we know that they've always been very costly investments. Now, while you can speak of the brands, and the brands are important to know the quality that you're going to get, how do you still match it for what people can afford?
Well, again, based upon our partnerships that we do have, we get favorable prices of which we pass on to all of our customers. And the support, the service, the warranties, we are here for our customers. That's why we link ourselves with the huge brands in technology so that we can provide it here locally in Belize.
And to add to what you said, I know 2020 has been a rough year, but at Full Tech Systems, we also work with everybody's budget. We go above and beyond to make sure that we're able to accommodate people that's on a tight budget as well.
So why don't we just jump into some of the deals and some of the exciting products that you guys have there on sale. What do you think would make a good Christmas gift this year?
There are many things in technology would make an excellent Christmas gift. Guys have internet from different service providers, but their modem with maybe limited wireless features. So this specific product that Patricia is holding here is Linksys AC1200 wireless router. This specific unit allows you to cover roughly 1,500 square feet and about 10 devices. As you know, in every household, you have your tablet, your laptop, your smart TV. Maybe you have an actual smart home, like Alexa could help you, or Google, So,
wait, so that's better than the one you get from the phone companies?
Oh, most definitely.
I didn't even know you should change your modem.
You don't change your modem. You utilize this as an attachment.
Okay.
For instance, this is the Wi-Fi 5, which is a current technology. And since with Linksys, we do now have Wi-Fi 6 routers in stock. These are brand new wireless routers with the AX1800 technologies that are gigabit technology. So if you have an actual internet connectivity that is about 120 meg per second, then in there you need to utilize things like these, right? So you can come on the systems and ask about different solutions and technologies on the different technological problems that you're having. And we can help you guys out in making that done in any Wi-Fi, any tablet, laptops. We have years of experience in dealing with technology, and we want to help our customers out in making that right decision.
And speaking of tech, tablets, I know that's a hot button item. Even the preschoolers need to learn from their devices. And so that looks like one that's adequate for a little one, right?
Correct. This one is the Amazon Fire Kids Edition.
Oh.
And this is a hot seller right now. And it comes with the protective case as well. And so, you know, it protects your investment after you've given that gift to that lovely child.
Yeah.
You want to protect it.
And I know based upon this, people are just looking at it as a tablet with a rugged case. But in reality, each one of these Amazon Kids tablet comes with a lot of educational apps on there for an entire year. So in let's say your child wants to play a game, there are educational game apps on these tablets that are very good for your child.
Okay. Right? So what's the cost of it?
$269.
Okay.
All right, and you get a full 1-year warranty on the unit itself. I mean, we're here to actually give our customers a peace of mind whenever they do make these purchases. We are not 30 days warranty, we're an entire year. We do have many other things. We have the Alcatel 7-inch 4G tablet. We have Amazon H8 Plus tablet, right? The 10-inch tablet. You could actually go on and on. We also do have, you know, for your video views, better meetings and stuff like that. We do have Logitech C270 webcam. We have the C920, 920S. You can go on and on based upon the different technological gifts. You have the gamer. We have the gaming headsets from HP. We have different variations of gaming headsets that you can actually use. All right? We do have other things like your My Band, which Patricia is actually using one of them. It tracks your heart rate, footsteps. You know, it keeps you on point based upon you getting healthy.
And you know January is coming up, so everybody has New Year's resolutions.
That's right.
Get one of these My Band. These are excellent.
This is something that I have at my home. And this is something that is good for these times. This is an actual phone sanitizer. For instance, when I get home, I have a specific routine that I do. I leave my shoes at the actual table. I take off my phone, I put it directly in this, and I go in the bathroom and I derobe. By the time I come back, the phone is already sanitized. Right? Awesome. So these are specific gifts that you can give of caring as well, because your phone is something that you touch every day. You go to the store, you're touching products, you pull out your phone, maybe you want to do an actual on the product itself, but you're contaminating your phone, so you don't want to.
Even if you just put on sanitizer, you touch your phone, you just got the dirt from the phone on your hand. So yes, we didn't want to think of that, did we? But that's a fantastic gift, and in fact, you know, I think that many people should make that investment or ask for it for their Christmas gift.
Yeah. Yes, they really should. And top have an actual power bank as well. And this specific power bank is a 8,000 milliamp. It gives you about almost two to four charges for your cell phone. These are excellent gifts for you to give. And you know, during these specific times, you want to take memorable pictures. And you want to actually store them, back them up, ensure that they're safe. And we have devices like that, which is a Western Digital 1 terabyte external hard drive. This specific unit is on special for about $139. And you know, to have that peace of mind to protect your data, protect your pictures is excellent. I only have 3 rules in computers, you know, for me personally. I tell a lot of, my first rule is backup. My second rule is backup. And my third rule
Okay, now you remind me I have to go back up my computer.
And then, so speaking of that, I think I see a laptop there on the display as well. So can you tell us about that?
Oh, absolutely. So one is the HP 255G7. This is going $990. And this also comes with 1-year warranty. We also have Dell, we have Acer, we have Lenovo. So we have a wide range of laptops in stock that you can definitely give to your loved one this Christmas. And like I said, it meets everybody's budget.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are still working from home. We have our kids that are doing our distance learning. We also have a lovely DeskJet printer in stock right now. This one is a 2375 model, and it could actually print, scan, and copy. This is on promotion right now for only $95. So this would make an excellent for somebody right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's so useful to have that at home just for any of the work that you need to get done. All right, so I'm seeing some, what's to the bottom there? Is that a television?
No.
Oh, that's a computer too, yeah.
It's just a display.
Okay, it's your display.
You have the Lenovo tablets, you have the actual Mighty Stick, which is an excellent add-on for you to, let's say you have a regular television or a monitor, and you just plug this device in and you have Wi-Fi, you turn it into a television. Because it also comes with a remote. It's just like your Amazon Fire Stick, right? Okay. And it's Android-based. You could load any Android-based program, streaming program that you want. Excellent gift as well, right? And then for those really smart home lovers, we do have this specific power strip. You know, from time to time, you put in your lights, your Christmas tree lights, and you would have to go all the way to the back of the tree, plug it back in, or turn unit. You plug those in, and you can control it by the app on your phone, or it is also integrated into the Google Home or Amazon Alexa, right? So I turn on the Christmas tree, and it's there.
Oh, I love that.
And Marlene, to add to it, we presented all these wonderful gift ideas. Just so you know, we are offering free gift wrapping this Christmas. So, I mean, we're taking it away from you this Christmas. Purchase your gift, get it wrapped immediately. And that's courtesy of Full Tech Systems, of course.
And I know that you also have all year round, but even for Christmas, you have bundle plans. So you can get kind of everything you need for your office or home or student in one. Tell us about some of those that are really going to give you a big saving.
Okay. For instance, we do have our PC bundles that are going right now. Like for instance, this specific monitor PC, which is the Optiplex 3080. Right? It's a small form factor. It's an i5. You get 8 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive, and wait, 5 years. Because we're a Dell partner. We're a Dell Platinum partner, right? And that makes us way different from all of our competitors on the whole. So we value your business, and we are giving you actual value for your money.
So if I get that now, up until 2025, if I run into some problems, you guys are going to come in and take care of it for me.
Yeah, bring it in. We offer a depot warranty. Bring it in, and we'll actually deal with any warranty issues pertaining to the unit itself.
Yeah, that's again, you know, when you're making the investment, you want to know that you're doing it safely.
For sure.
And so that's one of the great bundles that you have there. Anything else you want to share with us?
Well, there are many things. Technology is almost endless, and there are gifts of softwares as well. Like, for instance, the Office 365, that gives you Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It gives you all the Office apps that you need, plus online storage, email. It gives you almost everything, and it's on special right now for $99. Office 365 Personal, right? So come on down to Full Tech Systems. You could always, you know, give us a call at 223-3226 or in our Belmopan branch.
Yes, we have a branch in Belmopan also. That's located at number 2 Macaw Street. The number is 822-0482. You can also follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. We have it all. And of course, you can WhatsApp us at 610-1260. Or just email us at sales@fulltech.com.bz, and we will be sure to assist you.
And we're very responsive whenever it comes to social media. You can contact us via Facebook, Instagram. Come on, we are there. We're a technology company, and we want to serve you guys, right? Let me also tell you about our service department.
Tell us.
You could you could come in and buy even gift certificates, and those specific gift certificates could be utilized to actually purchase services in our service department, any specific products in our store on a whole. Now, our service department is there for you to maintain your printer. You know, we can sell you service packages that you actually buy a printer or your PC and you get it serviced every so often. Normally it's about minimum of about 3 times you should service your PC or you should service your printer throughout the course of the year, right? Now, whenever you do service your equipment, it gives it longevity. It's just like a car. You know, if you don't change the oil in your car, the engine will break off. So if you don't service your printer, your PCs, you know, get rid of all that dust, clean out your actual temporary files and everything of that sort to have your PC run quicker, faster. We offer all of that through our service department. So come on, we are full service. Come on to full service and we can help you out. Even the hotels in a whole, we have Wi-Fi, business Wi-Fi for hotels, business Wi-Fi. We have point of sale systems. We have a lot of different things. Like for instance, a lot of hotels, we have this entire thermal system that is available from Hikvision. Now, this is a thermal camera, and you could point it to any specific point. And whenever a customer comes in, it'll tell you your actual temperature.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
That's
This,
yeah.
Like for instance, if you want an example of it, you could always come into our store. We have yellow lines that would actually lead you to a point of where you stand, and then you are an actual reading of your body temperature. It'll tell you abnormal temperature if you have a fever. If you don't have a fever, it just tells you 97.9, 97, whatever your temperature is. For businesses on a whole, we do have this Hikvision time and attendance with temperature control and a facial recognition. So it recognizes if you don't have on a mask whenever you're logging in to work on a whole. This time and attendance solution is here for you. And we can also do the installation implementation for you. We even have the actual handheld device that you guys can have. This one is a little bit more higher end than your basic little point and shoot. This one also has Wi-Fi. You could link it to your PC. It has loads of features. I can't explain all of them right now, but if you want more information, you could always contact.
Those are, I mean, listen, I am just thinking of all the places that needs to get a thermal camera and, or, you know, workplaces implementing the facial recognition along with the temperature scan or mask usage. It really, kudos to you guys in making sure that the technology is here for us to keep the country more safe. So there's stuff for businesses, homeowners, and for kids.
Everything's multifaceted.
All right. So what are the opening? I also noted, you know, it was quite a buzz. You guys were giving away herbs. Well, let me be clear. You were giving away fever grass and some of the natural remedies. I saw a facial reaction here. Natural remedies for teas.
Yes, at Fulltech Systems, we care about everything. And, you know, that's just an actual, our social responsibility, our way of giving back to the community. Yeah. So we have Irvine and fever grass or lemongrass packages at our security booth. You guys could just come, it's free. We just have them there and we decided to give back. So you could come by to pick up one package per household, right? And in our Belize City and our Belmopan branch.
All right, Santa helpers. Well, thank you for just giving us a slight preview of everything that you have in store there, but we do appreciate it. And people can go into the store, they can call, and of course you guys are very active on Facebook as well, so they can get more information there. Stay safe and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas as well. On behalf of the management and staff of Fulltech Systems, we want to wish everybody a happy and safe Christmas holiday, and we thank you for your patronage in 2020. We look forward to 2021 with you guys.
Okay, and my last note, guys, wear your face mask, practice social distancing, and wash your hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Very
too.
timely message. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely eyeing that LED light.
Right?
Quite a bit. Even the thermal cameras, you know, in some airports internationally, that's what people use to monitor temperatures. So they're really thinking ahead of how they can help businesses get ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? That's going to be super interesting to see as that unfolds right here in Belize.
So staying in the Christmas theme, We are about to debut your first cooking demo.
Yeah, right. If you can call
Any
it that.
nerves here?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, like, no, I wouldn't say I'm nervous, but I think it's going to be interesting for you to actually see, like, which you'll see, and I made mention of it in the video. Like, I just decided to show like how I actually like. So it's not so much like a really well prepared.
Enough of the excuses. You're going to see what's going to happen. So here's the thing, and if you're just catching up, viewers, on Tuesday, I think it was, that we had the guests from KP's Cakes Creations show us how to make black cake. Gavin confessed he'd never done it before. So, well, you know, I like challenging people sometimes, challenge Gavin, and he rose to the occasion. So here we go. This is his first black cake making experience, and he's got it all on camera. Let's check it out.
Hi everyone, so it's Gavin here, and if you've been watching our show recently, you'll know that we've had a lot of people coming in and making some great Christmas treats, and I really like to cook, so it's inspired me, so I decided to share with you my attempt at making a black cake. Now, I say attempt because this is the first time I've ever tried to make a black cake, even though it is one of my favorite cakes. I never make it because in my family, my mom and my grandma usually make it together every year. We have a family recipe and it's really great. But of course this year is a little different and the family's not getting together like we used to. So I decided to try and take over from my grandma and make the black cake this year. So I thought I'd just show you guys a little bit of how I work in the kitchen, show you a bit of the method behind the madness, and hopefully at the end of it, we're gonna come up with a really nice cake. So, like I said, I'm going to be doing everything in real time and preparing this as I go along. The only thing that I've actually done ahead of time is the fruits, which of course is the most important part of the cake, because as we all know, those have to be soaked in alcohol. And that is where we can start with the madness, because like I said, never having made a cake before, I decided to go shopping for some of the ingredients without ever having looked at the recipe, so I just kind of winged it with the fruits. So because I know sort of what's in it, I decided to just try and pick out some of my favorite dried fruits and even tried some new stuff. So I picked up some raisins, some dried cranberries, some prunes, dried apricots, dates. I also found some kumquats, which I didn't know, I've never tried those before. I also did something which is typical from my family recipe of black cake. I don't know if this is a Jamaican thing because my mom is from Jamaica and she usually makes the cake, but instead of leaving the fruits whole, we actually blend them or crush them together so that the whole texture of the cake is just one smooth cake. And so what I did was I took an amount of those fruits. I noticed that I didn't really put a measurement there, but I basically mixed everything up together, put it in the food processor. That also cut down some time because I was pretty lazy to chop up some of the fruits, and here is the end result. So I'll show that to you. Of course, one of the crucial parts of the black fruit cake is that the fruits are soaked in alcohol. I decided to use some port wine and also, again, to put a little bit more Jamaican flavor in it, I put some Ray Nephew's rum. So these fruits have been soaking for a little while. My mom actually soaks hers from months and months in advance. She starts soaking them. So this is her fruit mixture, which she keeps up in the cupboard up there, which I just opened. I don't know the full secret ingredients. This is the Jamaican secret, but I'm trying to replicate that here. So now that we have our fruit mixture ready, let's just get started on the cake. So I measured out 7 cups of flour, and that's going to be the starting point. So what I'm first going to do is make a bowl and set aside the dry ingredients. So sorry, I read the recipe wrong. It was supposed to be 8 cups of flour. So I have now added 8 cups of flour to my recipe. I think this is going to make at least 2 to 3 cakes. It seems pretty big. Now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of allspice. Oh gosh, the fridge is beeping. I think I left the freezer open. Next we are gonna do 3 teaspoons of nutmeg. That's 1. Oh gosh, 2. And we also need 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. And this doesn't look like enough, but let's try. 1, 2. Alright, yeah, 3. We got 3. Oh shucks, I spilled some on the mixer. Alright. Drop the cover. Alright. The next step is to put 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And you can test your baking powder. Actually, I learned on the show from Miss Karen Bailey, who made black cake, that you test it by putting it in room temperature water. This is 3. I'm trying to make sure I don't lose count. And is it 3 or 4? Okay, no. It's 4 tablespoons of baking powder, and here's number 4. Yes, you can test it by putting it in warm water, and if it froths up, that means the baking powder is very fresh. Now, of course, you want to combine your dry ingredients so they get evenly distributed. If you are an experienced baker, you probably have a proper sieve or a sifter, which I do not have at the moment. But I like to use this, which is really for taking things out of hot oil when you're frying. But it works pretty well as a sifter, I find, so that is what I do, especially when I'm making a big amount of cake like this. Alright, so that's it for the dry ingredients for now. So we are going to get started on the wet ingredients. The first of which is butter. This is real butter. I'm using Finlandia. Actually, I don't know how to actually open this thing. Oh god. Alright, so let's not. That's not how you do it. So I'm just going to try and put it on this thing like that to make it. How do you? It sucks. So I figured out the mixer, and I've added 1 pound of room temperature butter, and now I'm going to add the sugar. Now we need 5 cups of sugar for this, so I'm going to measure out 5 right now, and we're going to cream that brown sugar and butter together. So I just wanted to let you know that while this butter is still not 100% ready yet, I'm going to start breaking my eggs. We're going to need 8 eggs for this part. So as you can see, the butter is still creaming, but it's turning into a nice lightish kind of color. That's what we're going for, but we're going to start with the eggs. So we just want to add our eggs 1 at a time, and that's 8 again. So our wet mixture is almost finished. That means that we don't have that much work to do left. So I've also preheated my oven to 275 degrees. We know that for a black cake, you want to cook it for a pretty long time on a lowish type of heat. So a lot of people sometimes they choose between 275 to 300. I think anything in that range should be good depending on your recipe. But now we've got the last 2 wet ingredients. And that is, of course, your important black cake coloring, and we are also going to add some stout. And because it is a Christmas season, I'm deciding to add some sorrel stout to this mixture, and we're going to see how it turns out. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure out 1 cup of the black cake coloring, or your blackening, or however you want to call it. Of course, the second stage is the 2 cups of stout. So, okay, we're gonna add that there. There's 1. Alright, well there's foam, so it's hard to tell. And we get 2. Ooh, I guess we need more. This, alright, there we go, there's 2. And there's, just like how you could test your baking powder, you could test if your stout is fresh by tasting it. Yeah, I think this one will work. Since we don't need any more, I'll just keep this to one side. So your next step is going to be to slowly add your flour mixture as well as the blackening mixture, alternating so that it doesn't give it too much work. And we are soon going to be finished, so I'm going to put this back on and I'll put it on a kind of lowish speed, and we're going to add 1 or 2 cups at a time depending on how your mixer is doing. So here you go, add some of this. Maybe no. Let's just get something else to do this. This is how I usually cook. It can be kind of time consuming and a bit messy if you're like me. I don't know if there's a better way to do this. And you do want to scrape your pan every now and again. Oh gosh, this is like getting... Wow. So my KitchenAid wasn't big enough, so I have switched to finish up the last of the batter in my big bowl. So I'll just be hand mixing the rest, and folding in the fruits is the last step after this. So I'm gonna wait till this gets nice and smooth and incorporated, and I get out all the flour, and then I'm gonna add the fruits, and then we're gonna put it to bake. This is a lot of cake. So now my batter is looking pretty smooth, so the last thing is to add in the fruits. Now my instinct tells me that I should add this in gradually. Now the amount of fruits that I blended up ended up being about 6 pounds, which is what you want, 5.5 to 6 pounds. This is like a monster of a cake, guys. Like, this is huge. I mean, like, I don't know if you could see, I'd almost spilled it. So we have reached the end, and we are now going to put the butter into the cake pans, and we're gonna put it in the oven. Now, you know, I made a huge amount of butter, so I have actually done 3 cake pans, 1 10-inch and 2 9-inch, and I've fully greased it, and I put the bottom, I put parchment paper on the bottom, and so we're just gonna scoop in the mixture, and I'm gonna show you how that goes. So I got kind of bored and frustrated with scooping it, so I tried to just pour it in, which is what I did successfully, but you can see it's kind of messy. But we got the job done. So those are the 3 cakes, and they're gonna go into the oven. So those are my cakes in the oven, and we are gonna reveal the end result on the show. So hope you enjoyed watching that, and I hope this cake comes out good.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking, and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
All right, and we're back. And, you know, I said I'd challenge you. Clearly, it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, but like I said, that's usually my process cooking. There's always some spills, a little bit of mishaps, but at the end of the day, I try
We
to
have
deliver.
the final product.
Yes, we
right.
did.
So let me see what this looks like.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure we show it to the camera.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So that's what that looks like. You have it over here? Okay. You said you don't like nuts, so there are no nuts in it.
No.
Okay.
So that's how it is. Just fruit mixture and cake. I mean, as you could see, I did a lot into the making, so I didn't do much in terms of decoration. But, you know, classic is good.
Okay. And
but, of course, the proof is in the tasting.
did you try it?
I tried a little bit of the other one.
And you feel okay today,
I
right?
feel okay. So,
Just
but
checking.
I'm the chef, right? So we gotta I've got to get a second opinion at least.
All right. So here we go. Gavin's first attempt at.
Yeah, let's see.
All right.
And that's another thing that was kind of interesting because like black cake is such like a dense moist cake. It's really hard to tell when it's actually finished. So.
Oh, stop talking. Let's see what it looks. We'll see if it's finished right now.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, you got a piece. And it's holding together, which is a good sign.
It's not falling apart. There you go. Now you did blended fruit, so it's
Yes.
going to look a lot different from what? From what? I think I left the bottom of the cake in the pan.
It's okay.
You know, it's not your cake skills. It's my cutting skills.
Sure.
All right.
Let's go. Let's see what's the verdict. What do we think?
I do love black cake. I'm sure, as we discussed, people will say your black cake is not black enough.
I know,
right?
but it is a fusion.
Just saying.
It is a fusion, so it can be. You can call it a mixed cake if you want, because it's.
Well, I was gonna say we didn't ask we didn't ask what coloring. When we were getting the recipe for the black cake.
Yeah.
So we could have asked that one.
Right.
I smell rum.
Yep. What do we think?
All right.
Edible?
Good enough that I didn't have a second bite.
Right? Well, for my first try, I'm pretty pleased with at least how it looks. So if it tastes good, then I'm extra happy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's no, it tastes good. Please, I'm trying to decide what grade. So we got to work on the color.
Okay.
I love nuts. So
okay.
we got to get some nuts in there. Oh, I'm not demanding at all, but it is delicious. It really is.
Thank you.
And I like the spices. I can still taste the alcohol, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah.
Moist. So yeah, I'll give you a B,
All
just because we can always improve.
True. I'll take that. So I'm happy that you like it. And I mean, of course, that was my first ever time making it. So I'm just going by taste alone and looks a little bit, but I'm pretty okay with that.
Okay, good. So we're gonna get the rest of the staff to sample as well.
Yeah.
McGavin, thank you for being a good sport.
Yeah.
And sharing with us and all the viewers your first time making black cake. It looks a lot like all of our kitchens at home, where there are lots of mistakes and confusion that takes place.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
spills.
Spills always.
Yeah. All right, but that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah, so we want to thank our guests for coming in today. Of course, we had our first conversation with the Minister for Home Affairs, Honorable Karim Musa, giving us an update on the enforcement of COVID measures and giving us a preview of what's to come.
Yeah, so that's critical.
Yeah.
I think we know that we're expecting strengthening in the measures because the current SI expires on the 19th, I believe. So the press conference takes place tomorrow, but Minister Musa gave us some idea, but even more so talked about just the preparations that they're making as a police force to be able to ensure that they can keep everyone safe and keep everyone sticking to the regulations as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, and in our second conversation with the representatives from the Belize Hotel Association, talking about their plans to safely market Belize for the upcoming or for the future, and sharing some of the plans and also their digital accommodation guide, which you can access through their website. So thanks once again to them for coming in.
And Fulltech Systems coming in with those deals for the Christmas. Remember, they are showcasing some of their stuff online on their Facebook page. You can always call them to ask them what they have, but we were also able to see some of their gift ideas that they presented this morning. I think it's really cool to see the safety technology that they have brought in, from thermal cameras to Wi-Fi synced cameras that can monitor whether or not people are wearing their facial protection. And so there's something for everyone there, so please do check them out.
All right.
All right.
But that is all the time we have today, of course. So if you want to contact us, you can send us an email at oie@channel5belize.com.
And you can also drop me a line at marlene_OYE@channel5belize.com. Find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ.
And on Instagram at OIE Belize.
And remember to tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your heart open.
We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.